I don't really have a statement, so I'll probably say a couple of words, and then you can just fire your questions, as you always do. The Commissioners made a decision. They'll publish the orders tomorrow, but effectively I'll cease being the State Secretary from tomorrow, and I won't be appealing that decision. I respect what he has decided. The Council will meet, I think, next Monday to appoint a replacement, and I wish them well. The last 6 weeks have been very, very busy, and I've done what I set out to achieve. I had a short-term, a medium and a long-term plan. The short-term plan was if my appointment was challenged, and I knew it would be, what could we achieve in the time we had left, or I had left with the ANF, and we've managed to draft a log of claims. It's an excellent log of claims, and the public sector negotiations are on track. I'm in discussions with Ramsay's, and they're about to put a better offer out to the nurses, the 3,500 nurses up at Joondalup and Hollywood. I've managed to maintain the services for our members. That's pretty damn important, and we've settled the office down because it can be a tumultuous and a time of when you lose one secretary and then you lose another secretary. It does create, as you can all imagine, a degree of uncertainty amongst the staff, and the staff here at the ANF are second to none. So we've done that. We've managed to put in place funding for the public sector EBA campaign, as well as the funding for the Ramsay and the upcoming St John of God campaign, and many other things that have happened in the last 6 weeks. So it's certainly been busy, and now it is time for me to go one last time, and I expect this will be the very last ever press conference that I'll do, but I am fine. I've already had lots of people reaching out to see that I'm okay, and I just want to tell everybody I'm absolutely fine. My original plan was to retire. I now get to do that. I'm a little bit angry with the Commission, because if he was going to make me redundant, he could have done it next week when the wind was up. There's no wind for about 6 or 7 days, so I'm going to be twiddling my thumbs, waiting for the wind to come back in, so the kites won't be out. But it does give us a couple of days to get a few things finalised, and then that's it. So happy to take questions. You're speechless, Jess.
Rare.
Rare. In 10 years, I've never seen you struggling for what to say.
The orders are interim orders.
Yeah.
The judgment says that there's nothing to stop you returning to the position if probably elected later, but are you conceding that you're not eligible?
No, I'm not conceding I'm not eligible. I didn't say I agreed with the Commissioner's orders. I just said I wouldn't appeal them.
They're interim orders. So
I get that, yeah. But I'll be writing to the Commission to say that I won't be. There's two parts to the case for those who haven't been following the what is the soap opera of the ANF over the last couple of years. We seem to be in and out of the Commission, and I think that needs to stop. I hope that that the Council elect a candidate that can bring the Council together to heal some of the wounds, so that we stop making headlines for all the wrong reasons.
So you won't put your hand up?
No, absolutely not.
You've said that before, and then you did.
Well, I got dragged back in 6 weeks ago at a time when we didn't have a public sector log of claims, and the public sector agreement expires next week. I've managed to sort out the Department of Justice EBA, I forgot that one, so there were things. I threw my weight behind another candidate. The council has said, would you do this? I spoke with my wife and my 4-year-old. My 4-year-old wasn't happy, but then neither was the wife. But the point was, I did what I had to do at a time. Now, I'm telling you now that I will not be appealing this decision. I'll be writing to the Commission and the other applicants to say, look, I'm not going to be putting arguments forward for the substantive issue. And for those, as I said, who don't follow the soap opera that sometimes is the ANF, there was an injunction. He heard the injunction, and he's made a decision on that. But there's also the substantive matters that have yet to be discussed and heard, and the arguments made. I won't be. I'll probably be writing to the ANF president tomorrow, and to say that I want to convert from being a full member to a retired member.
You mentioned the soap opera of the ANF.
Yeah.
The applicant referred to previous complaints against you, previous workplace complaints, etc. How many have you had against you? Are you surprised this eligibility requirement is what's got you in the end?
No, not at all, because if you want to go back, last week we were in the Commission, they were dragging up a court case from 2007. And for those who weren't around in 2007, that was where WorkSafe, went after me for a few years. For 5 of those complaints in the Criminal Court and Magistrates Court, they were dismissed without me even giving any evidence, and the 6th one was dismissed as well, but I had to give evidence. Look, when you have, I accept that I may be a polarising figure. I also accept that I have delivered outcomes from members. I can't be bought. Both sides of politics don't like me very much. People have said, would you ever go into politics? And I always go, well, look, I'm not really interested, but they wouldn't have me. I'm not actually aware of any political party that would even think about taking me on, but I'm not interested anyway. But when you are just doing the best you can for the nurses, and you do it for so long, for 24 years, well, it's 26 years if you include the last couple, you're going to pick up some barnacles along the way. I mean, I don't know how many governments. I fought 6 contested elections. 6 contested elections. Now, is there a single government around this country that can say they've been to the people 6 times? And when I went to the members, my approval was anywhere from 55%. The highest was 93% in 2010. The last time I went to the members for secretary in 2018, it was 75% of the members supported me. And for me, that's where it matters. Now, if people want to attack me, if they want to dredge up old stuff, that's their prerogative. But I'm hoping that with my departure, we also see the departure of all that garbage that's been out there that you guys love, doesn't do anything for the members. I'm hoping that goes as well.
Well, you call them barnacles, but the applicant says that council was never told about WorkSafe provisional improvement notices that reference psychosocial hazards in the workplace.
Sorry, Jess, I find that, look, I love your questions, but what are you talking about? You're talking about 99, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2007, 2009,
2010. That's not that long ago. February 2022.
No, what we were told was we had to improve our grievance procedure. Gee, that's a capital offence. We have to improve our grievance procedure, and that was the outcome.
So
my point is this. Well, no, my point is this. If WorkSafe spend as much attention on the workload issues of our members in the workplace as they do on the ANF, I think 89 must be, I think, 11, 12 or 13 times we've had WorkSafe inspectors. It's a political tool, as was the charges against me in 2007. Now, what I'm saying is, if WorkSafe spent as much time looking after our members in the workplace, maybe we wouldn't have the burnt-out workforce that we have today.
So there are no problems in your workplace then that you can see?
Well, there's no current complaints to WorkSafe. Nobody went off to WorkSafe when I came back 6 weeks ago and said, this guy's coming back. They all seem pretty happy over there. And the reality is, I'm not quite sure why we're focused on old news. The news of the day is the Commission has said that ruled against me. I'm leaving. That's the reality.
What about the complaint by some current members of council that you refused to present a business case for the $3 million EBA campaign fund?
Well, it wasn't a $3 million. No. What we did was we went to council. That complaint speaks of ignorance. It comes from people who anybody who makes that kind of a statement, it means that they have no idea how an EBA campaign runs, okay? And I'm more than happy to talk about it, but I'm not sure it's going to be very exciting. When you do an EBA, you've got to make sure that you've got the funds. For example, in 2013, we were running out of money because our credit cards were fully booked out. And I had to slip into my pocket and find another $113,000 so that we could advance book ads, advance book the convention centre. It's unconventional stuff, and then 9 months later the ANF reimbursed me. But the point about EBA campaigns is this: you have to make decisions on the fly. You have to make decisions in response to what the members want, in response to what the government's offering. And when you do decide to, say, go on an ad campaign, you have to pay up front. The radio stations, social media, they want their money up front. So in 2013, we had council approval for $1 million, and the council updated that for the public sector to $2 million. But they also added another $500,000 if required for Ramsey, and $500,000 for St John of God. When you talk about a business plan for an EBA campaign, it's almost like an oxymoron, because things change so quickly. They change all the time. And if the government, say, comes out and decides to make an offer this afternoon, the ANF has to pivot, look at that offer, may have to arrange meetings, may have to arrange buses on the fly, and that wouldn't form part of your business plan. So you don't have this plan that says government makes an offer on this day and then you respond on that day. And I mean, has anybody ever watched our campaigns? Oh, no. Where do the two parking bees fit into a business plan? When I remember going to the council with those parking bees, and they all thought I was crazy. They thought it was Mark Olson's jump the shark moment. But they were a massive success. They sucked up the media for 2 weeks of the campaign, and they helped deliver us a great result.
Where does your exit leave the EBA negotiations now?
Oh, look, the EBA has a cracking great log of claims. The members are fully behind it. I will hand over all the material to the incoming secretary, so they'll get all the material that I've got. And you've still got the rest of the negotiating team: Michael Clancy, David Poole, Jane Ann Gardner, Ned Rosethorn. They're all still there, and the secretary forms part of that team.
But given the soap opera that you've referred to, I mean, the ANF...
Oh, you're going to hang me on that one now, aren't you?
I am. The ANF leadership's a mess now, isn't
Well, it may not be after Monday. Look, I disagree with you. You say the ANF leadership's a mess. What other union has the funds that we have? What other union has not put their fees up for 20 years and then in the last 2 years slashed the fees by 30%? No other union offers the services. So you say that we've got problems at the ANF. Well, we've got online education. We've got a second-to-none legal service. We've got 100 holiday units that we own. We don't owe any money. We are cashed up. We can run campaigns because we are cashed up. And apparently that all adds up to the ANF being in disarray. Well, I disagree with you. I think, yes, there are challenges at the ANF, and I think it's because for about 20 plus years we didn't have all of the internecine squabbles that we seem to have had in the last couple of years.
You stayed on casually after you last retired with the ANF.
Yeah.
Will you be staying on at all this time?
No, that's it. I think it's best right now. I've done what I needed to do in the last 6 weeks.
And 2026 is out?
No interest. As I said, I'll be writing to the President tomorrow to say that I'm converting from full member to retired member, and what that means is that as a retired member, you're not eligible to run for office. I think I've given enough. I had the privilege of giving a little bit more for 6 weeks. You can't understand what a privilege it is to lead a group of people who every year when Morgan does their Gallup poll are voted as the most trusted profession. I mean, what an honour. I think we got pipped by the pharmacists one year. Yeah, it was a terrible time. But the point is that you get to lead a group of nurses, midwives, carers. Oh, God, what a privilege. And I've got to do that twice. Once for 24 years as secretary, and then for 6 weeks at a pivotal time, remembering, and I know that the government's probably pretty happy that I'm not going to be around. That's okay. I'm pretty sure they'll be popping the champagne corks in the Health Minister's office this afternoon.
Whoever's fault the soap opera is it a shame that has perhaps distracted attention from the hospital crisis in WA?
Well, I disagree with your premise. I think that the hospital crisis has been, over the last couple of years, despite all the challenges that Janet faced, and it was really disappointing to see half of her time being tied up in legal challenges. I've never seen anything like it. State solicitors.
But that's what I mean. The ANF has had to spend
I'm getting there. Despite all of that, she was able to regularly highlight the failures of our public health system. She was able to regularly highlight the fact that you don't have enough people to get your ratios in place. And I think that whoever my successor may be, if they're doing their job properly, they'll be holding the government to task, and they'll be saying to the government, as I said to you 6 weeks ago, when I left the negotiations in 2022, the government had agreed that ratios would be across all areas predominantly within 2 years maximum. And I turn my back and I come back 2 years later, and that wording has changed to a minimum of 2 years with no maximum. So I'm hoping, and that's the position we've currently got, that the ratios. Now, the reason the government won't concede that is because they know they don't have the staff. And the government knows from the discussions I've had with the government during the negotiations in the last 3 weeks, and we've got weekly meetings happening, they've conceded they've got to do something. They can't, you can't have nurses and midwives being the lowest paid in the country and expect to be able to fill up your ratios. You just can't do it. It's not going to happen.
Other concerns raised in this document include a lack of transparency and openness on your part, as well as claims of nepotism by hiring your wife at the ANF. What is your reaction to
So who's making those claims?
It's from the document, the decision.
Oh, that would be somebody making. It's not the commissioner saying that he's.
No.
Well, okay. Then I just dismiss it. You know, the mud that has been slung. You know, nobody's ever criticised the job that my wife does. Never. Not once. But apparently if you are remotely associated with Mark Olson, then there is a problem. You know, it's not the commissioner. The whole point was if you throw enough mud up there, then, but nothing's ever been proven. You know, it's like not as though somehow there's any substance to it. They've had plenty of, the people who have criticised me over 24 years. You know, can I just tell you a quick story? The first time WorkSafe ever came to our office, they issued me with 13 improvement notices in 1999. And one of those improvement notices was the fact that we didn't have, this is how ridiculous it was, they issued an improvement notice because we didn't have first aid kits in our cars. Now, apart from the fact that WorkSafe didn't have kits in their cars at the time, the problem was the ANF didn't have cars. They also issued an improvement notice because we didn't have a designated first aid officer. At the time, we had around 5 nurses and 2 midwives working at the ANF. But apparently, you know, that was, and that was the first time WorkSafe turned up. They also issued, and they said that we don't provide the appropriate driver training. And when we actually looked up the section of the Act they were referring to, it was for forklift drivers. And I can assure you, it may come as no surprise, but the ANF doesn't have many forklifts. In fact, none at all. So I got the message that WorkSafe was being used as a political tool, and it is. And for the next 24 years, WorkSafe got used as a political tool to have a go at Mark Olson. I think they should be ashamed of themselves, and maybe they should be investigated. And I'm going to say what I said before. If the nurses... You know, I remember when WorkSafe came to see us when we had nurses doing like 24-hour shifts. Had a couple of their officers turn up and tell us they couldn't do anything. Apparently that was okay. So maybe one day somebody will actually have a look at what WorkSafe does and what they don't do, but they've certainly paid an inordinate amount of attention to the ANF. And the last time, Jessica, all we had to do was improve our grievance procedure. That was it. And I'm not sure about lack of transparency because all ANF staff for the last 25 years have had direct access to the council. Every one of them. They can all go to council with their concerns.
The claim is that council wasn't aware of the WorkSafe notices.
The council always aware of the WorkSafe notices. We have to post them in the workplace. You know, we follow all our obligations. But no, the council know about all these things, and various people who have had complaints against the ANF have been invited to council to address those complaints. Haven't turned up. That's their choice.
So the revival of these complaints by...
Oh, Jess, I've done... Look, I think...
What are your thoughts on the people who've led the charge?
I'm not going to comment on the people. What I'm going to say is that I said to you, WorkSafe has been used as a political tool over the last 24 years to get Mark Olson. That's what I'm saying. And I've got the evidence to prove it. I just told you, you tried to cut me off, but I told you all the times they've been investigating. I have difficulty keeping up with all the details because there's been so many investigations that came to nothing.
What's next?
As I said, there's no wind for a few days, unless I go to Exmouth, and now I can. I'm just going to enjoy life. I've got... come on, go, sweetie. What's next? Yes, I've got a 4-year-old. I've got a lovely wife. Do you want to come up, Tanya? You know, what I discovered when I was... sorry, sweetie. What I discovered when I was, you know, when I briefly left the ANF before I got pulled back to be secretary again. In those brief few months, I discovered there's a wonderful life out there that doesn't revolve around the Australian Nursing Federation. It's been an enormous privilege being in this position. It really has. Like the services that we give to our members, to be a part of building those services, you just can't imagine how wonderful it is. Did I make mistakes along the way? Oh, truckloads. But the fact is, we have services that just don't exist. Our fees are a third the price of any other union. People keep hinting that somehow we got our 40,000 members. I think we're bigger than the next 4 combined, and people kind of allude to the fact we're doing something dodgy there. No, we're just really good at what we do. We provide a service. But the thing is, once I stepped away momentarily and started going to the local pool and actually talking to the people, the normal people that aren't in the industrial relations world, yeah, boy, did they open up my eyes. So I can't wait. As I said, a few people are sad. There'll be a few members who are sad. I'm pretty happy. I think my wife's happy, and well, she will be happy when she gets older.
So no regrets about dipping your toe back in the last 6 weeks?
No. Do I sound like I've had regrets? I never liked going to the Industrial Commission. I found it not a place that I ever enjoyed. I had to do it. I always preferred to be out with the members. So it'll be disappointing. We've just ordered our new campaign T-shirt, so I'm disappointed I won't be out handing those out. But the next person, yeah, let's see what happens. And I'll be keenly interested. Will I have any paid positions with the ANF going forward? Absolutely not. I wouldn't even accept one. Am I available to provide any assistance from my corporate knowledge? Always. Certainly. And no matter who it is, whether it's a political friend or a political foe, they all deserve the benefit of my corporate knowledge if they want it.